Paris in the fall, the last months of the year and the end of the millennium. The city holds many memories for me, of cafes, of music, of love, and of death.
Well, would you bloody believe it, I've only made 100 of these things. I've featured several of my favourite games, like Shadow of Memories, Gemalami and Mad Maestro, but to mark this occasion, we're going to look at my favourite game of all time, Broken Sword, The Shadow of the Templars. I may have told this story before, but I don't know when and in which video, so I'll tell it again. When I got my first PlayStation for Christmas 1996, it came with a demo disc simply called Demo 1, which I still have. Among the playable and tech demos, there was a category called Movies despite there only being one. The trailer to Broken Sword.
From the makers of the highly acclaimed Lure of the Temptress and Beneath a Steel Sky comes a brand new adventure of epic proportions. Broken Sword, The Shadow of the Templars.
I watched this many times because I was intrigued by the mystery it teased. I never did find a new sealed copy, and to this day I've never seen one, but I did come across a used copy in a market stall. It was there, I could afford it at the time, and boy was I excited. Well, this is how you start off a game to grip the audience with intrigue. Explosion Clown.
As I picked myself up, all I could hear was the ceaseless drone of traffic. Life went on around me, but the explosion was to change my life forever.
This is George Stobbart. He was having a peaceful holiday touring Europe until this happens. I'm a fan of this setup. Just drop the player into a situation and leave them to figure things out. Broken Sword is a classic 90s point-and-click adventure, and that period of video games had some of the best dialogue writing. George is voiced by actor Rolf Saxon, and he does a wonderful job soliloquising George's thoughts.
I tried not to meet his stare as I searched the dead man's pockets. No wallet, no papers, no credit cards. The guy's past was a blank page.
So anyway, something serious has gone down, and curious George here feels compelled to investigate, much to the disapproval of the local police.
Freeze! Hold it, or right there.
Whoa, don't shoot. I'm innocent. I'm an American.
Can't make up your mind, huh?
I apologize, monsieur, but I cannot permit you to leave. Your name, please?
George Stobbart. I'm from California.
After a few questions from Inspector Rosso, George is free to go. Outside the cafe, George meets freelance photojournalist Nicole Collard.
Hi, my name's George Stobbart.
Oh, an American by the sound of it.
Yeah, that's right. On holiday in Paris. Some holiday, huh?
I am Nicole Collard from La Liberté.
Initially, she's apprehensive of George's involvement, but welcomes any more information he can dig up.
Why do you want to get involved?
Because he almost killed me. Isn't that reason enough?
I guess so. Listen, I'll give you my phone number.
Alright.
This is strictly business.
Ah.
You speak very good English for a French girl.
Thanks. You speak very good English for an American.
Well, just a few minutes into the game and George already has a woman's number. But before that, how did you escape, Mr. Clown? I will refrain from major plot spoilers, but the occasional gameplay spoiler may crop up. After all the talking, George can now properly explore his environment.
The window was protected by stout-looking iron bars.
I will be making a few comparisons between the PlayStation and the original PC version. Suffice to say, the PS1 version isn't great. The PC version, like most classic PC games, is displayed in 640 by 480 resolution. The PS1 can output this, but some games only use it in part, like the main title screen in Gran Turismo for example. I don't know the technical reason, but Broken Sword loses half of its vertical resolution at 640 by 256. Looking good there, George. And I love your funny Benny Hill walk. The dialogue, music and sound effects all play at the correct speed, but for some reason the animations are at double speed, for the most part. There are some locations where this doesn't happen. I guess porting a game is not an exact science. Like all classic point-and-click adventures, interacting with the world involves the pointing and the clicking. Long gone are the days of having a needless panel of separate actions to choose from. Thankfully now it's just right-click to look, left-click to do. And what is George to do? After sifting through sewers and impersonating a police detective,
Perhaps you'd like to take a look at my card?
George discovers the identity of the killer.
He gave me his name as Monsieur Khan.
Thanks for your help, buddy.
My pleasure, monsieur. Allow me to shake you by the hand.
Huh? Well, okay. What are you trying to do, kill me?
Eh bien, it is yours to keep. A gift.
Tracking him to his hotel room in which he is staying, George manages to coerce the clerk to giving up what the old man was carrying in his briefcase, with the help of the delightfully eccentric Lady Piermont.
I say! You there? Flunky!
Oui, madame.
You're just not going to believe what I've found.
Sharing this information with Nicole, or Nico as it's now shortened, we learn that it's a medieval manuscript from the time of the Crusades, depicting some cryptic imagery and the seal of the Knights Templar. Are you sure? The PlayStation's low resolution strikes again.
This guy, named Hughes de Payen, arrived one day at the court of King of Jerusalem.
When first playing this back in the day, I had never heard of the Knights Templar, so this was quite the history lesson that just added to the intrigue. For a deeper history lesson, George and Nico seek the help of historian André Lobineau, who should be at the Crude Museum. No, great, he's not here. But George does spy something very familiar, if you can tell.
It had been found in Loch Marn, at the site of a Knights Templar preceptory. Ireland!
We have our first non-France location. This is Loch Marn, a nice quiet little village to see the sights, have a drink at McDevitt's, electrocute the local children, watch somebody get run over, come face to face with car. Oh shit!
Excuse me.
There was a nasty feeling in my guts I usually associated with light opera. It was Khan.
And this goat. Oh, this infamous f***ing goat. In the grounds of the abandoned Loch Marn Castle is a grumpy goat that will prevent George from progressing. The reason it's so infamous is that in order to get past it, you need to do something that the player has never been called upon to do before. Have fun with that if you're playing this for the first time. What George finds in Loch Marn leads him even deeper into this conspiracy, and a clue which points to Syria. This marketplace location really shows how poor the PS1 port is. It hitches so much and sometimes requires clicking twice to make it register. Here in Syria, inventory puzzles come to the forefront. Examining the items that George carries in his bottomless pockets reveal additional information. George found this matchbook in Khan's room at the Hotel Ubu, from the club Alamut. What could that mean? Now let's think about this logically. Allah is the Arabic word for God, and Mut is an Australian colloquialism for the word vagina. So I'm looking for Club God Vagina. Or that could just be the name for a black metal band. After discovering what secrets are hiding in the Syrian wilderness, George is once again confronted by Khan.
You!
He can no longer tolerate George's interference and is just going to straight up shoot him.
You are an honorable man, Mr. Stobbart, a rare breed. I should like to shake your hand.
Good old hand buzzer, nothing beats that. Come on, George, you've got some plaster of Paris that you found in Ireland. It would have been funny if you gave him the old pocket plaster. The plot thickens and things are getting serious. Who are these Neo-Templars and what is their goal? Now how do I put this without fully giving it away? In 1307, when the Knights Templar were charged with heresy, the demon they were accused of worshipping was Baphomet. Today, the Neo-Templars see this as an injustice and plan to use a certain artifact connected with Baphomet for their own questionable ambitions.
Let's take another look at the manuscript.
George discovers a link to a particular Templar in the manuscript who is of Spanish nobility. So fuck it, off to Spain, because George apparently has a golden ticket of infinite plane travel. I guess his pockets are deep figuratively as well as literally. Hi, can I come in your house?
Madre Dios, who are you?
My name's George Stobbart. I'm sorry to burst in like this.
You must leave at once. You're not wanted here.
Please, if you'd just listen a minute.
George better hope he can find something of use here, as his only clue linking the Countess de Vasconcelos to this whole mystery is the de Vasconcelos coat of arms on the manuscript. Even though the 2 visits to Spain feel a little sidetracky, George does find what he needs for his final step of the adventure. And then some. What George finds in his short visits to the Countess is no short of miraculous. I'll leave that for you to see for yourself.
It must be done.
Oh, I guess so. And we must be nearly there.
Well, the pieces are all falling into place. George and Nika are heading to the far-off land of Endgame to witness what the Neo-Templars have been planning all this time. Unsurprisingly, I cannot recommend Broken Sword enough, but because of the technical issues, not the PlayStation version. The PC version is the way to go. But I have one caveat. If it's your first time playing, do not play the director's cut. Sorry Revolution, but I don't like the director's cut. The additions like the character portraits with mismatching art style, the tacked on backstory elements for Nico, and the addition of new unnecessary puzzles and the dumbing down of existing ones makes it feel like when they add modern architecture to an old building. Broken Sword the Director's Cut is available on Steam and Good Old Games. They come with the original version as DLC. I implore you to play that instead.